In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed devil, and I begin with his sacred name, he who is boundlessly merciful and infinitely compassionate. Dear viewers of Miracle of Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another spiritual journey, where truth meets faith, and where the miracles of Allah remind us of the eternal reality that lies beyond this material world. Today's story is not merely a narration of events. It is a piercing reflection of faith, a deep journey into mourning, and an encounter with a mystery that left even the strongest hearts trembling. But before we begin, we ask you to confirm, have you subscribed to Miracle of Islam? If not, please do so now, and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos that bring you closer to Islamic truths and divine wonders. Let us begin. This question has haunted humanity since the beginning of time. Can someone come back from the dead? Logically, scientifically, the answer is a firm no. Death is, after all, the final curtain. But then comes the realm of miracles, the world beyond logic, the world where Allah's will reigns supreme, beyond the grasp of human understanding. What we're about to tell you happened not in ancient times, but in our modern era. An incident that turned an ordinary Muharram procession into something that shook the very foundations of those who witnessed it. In the Indian state of Kerala, during the sacred days of the 9th and 10th of Muharram, a scene unfolded that left thousands stunned and the entire internet in disbelief. It was claimed that people saw shrouded figures, wrapped in pure white burial cloths, walking silently through the streets, mourning. Witnesses say they weren't actors or performers. These were dead bodies. Bodies that had risen from their graves. Can you imagine? A video began circulating on social media. In it, you can see figures covered in white funeral shrouds, walking, weeping, and participating in Matam, the mourning ritual for Imam Hussein A.S. People in the streets stopped, some screamed, some fell to their knees, others ran away in terror. Are we seeing ghosts? They asked. Are these the martyrs of Karbala come back to remind us of their sacrifice? Within hours, the clip went viral. It was shared across WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and Instagram. Many believed to be a miracle, a divine message reminding us of the pain of Karbala. But others labeled it fake, accusing it of being staged or exaggerated. So what really happened? Let us walk you through the actual story behind this clip, because the truth is sometimes even more powerful than the myth. In Kerala, India, particularly in regions where the Shia community lives in large numbers, Muharram is not just a ritual, it's a living memory. Every year during the first 10 days of Muharram, these communities mourn the martyrdom of Imam Hussein A.S. and his family, who were brutally killed on the plains of Karbala in 680 CE. Among their rituals is one deeply symbolic act. Men wrap themselves in white shrouds similar to those worn by the dead. These men then walk in processions, performing matam as a way of symbolically becoming one with the martyrs who never received proper burial. They mourn for those who died thirsty, for those whose bodies were trampled, and for those who never even received a piece of cloth to cover them in death. So no, they were not literal dead bodies. But yes, their appearance was meant to remind everyone of death, sacrifice, and the day of judgment. But that does not reduce the emotional power of what happened. You see, when faith is sincere, even a symbolic act can shake the soul. Thousands of people who watched the video didn't just see men wrapped in cloth. They felt a deep spiritual reminder of death, sacrifice, and the eternal legacy of Imam Hussein A.S. Some wept uncontrollably. Others were reminded of the forgotten values of courage, loyalty, and justice. Some non-Muslims watched the video and said, if this is what Islam teaches, love for the oppressed and defiance against tyranny, then what a beautiful religion it must be. Now, let us pause for a moment and understand something very important. Why do Muslims, especially Shia Muslims, mourn so deeply for a man who died more than 1400 years ago? Imam Hussein A.S. was not just any man. He was the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad P.U.H., the light of his eyes, the fragrance of his soul. He stood up against a tyrant, Yazid, who wanted to turn the religion of peace into a kingdom of power and fear. Imam Hussein chose death over dishonor. He gave his life, but refused to give his hand in allegiance to injustice. On the scorching plains of Karbala, he watched his family members slaughtered. his brothers, sons, and even his 6-month-old baby, Ali Asghar. Finally, when he was all alone, he went forward and gave his life, whispering, "Is there anyone to help us?" Even in his final moments, his prayer was not for himself, but for you and me, that his sacrifice would awaken generations to the truth. According to Islamic traditions, mourning for Imam Hussein A.S. is not just emotional, it is spiritual. Imam Jafar Sadiq once said, "Whoever sheds even a single tear for us, if it is the size of a mosquito's wing, Allah will forgive all his sins, even if they are as vast as the foam of the sea." Once, the great scholar Allama Baharul Ulum was contemplating this very hadith. How can a single tear wipe out a lifetime of sin? At that moment, a man on horseback approached him and said, "Let me tell you a story." He narrated the tale of a king who was separated from his group while hunting. Thirsty and starving, he stumbled upon a tent where an old woman and her son lived with a single goat, their only source of sustenance. Without knowing who the man was, the woman slaughtered the goat and fed the king. In the morning, when the king returned to his palace, he asked his ministers, "How do I repay such sacrifice?" Some said, "Give her gold." Others said, "Give her land." But the king said, "Even if I give her my crown, it wouldn't match her generosity, for she gave me everything she had." The writer concluded, "This is why Allah gives such unimaginable reward to those who mourn for Imam Hussein Mayes. Because he too gave everything, his wealth, his family, his life, for Allah's sake." And with that, the writer vanished. When the Prophet Muhammad told his daughter Fatima Zahra S.A. about the martyrdom of her son Hussein, she wept bitterly. She asked, "Father, who will cry for my son?" The Prophet PBUH replied, "O Fatima, the women of my nation will mourn for your women, and the men will mourn for your men. This mourning will continue generation after generation. And on the day of judgment, you will intercede for the women, and I will intercede for the men. And whoever wept for Hussein, we will take their hand and enter them into paradise." So even though those men wrapped in shrouds were not real corpses, their actions carried a message as deep as death itself. They were honoring the martyrs. They were reminding the world that the blood of Hussein still flows in the hearts of those who resist injustice. Even today, in many parts of the world, Muharram is commemorated in different ways. In Iraq, people walk for days to reach Karbala. In Pakistan, people serve water and food in memory of the thirst endured by Hussein. In Iran, poetry and passion plays are performed. And in India, yes, even in Kerala, people mourn in their own powerful symbolic ways. Is it wrong? That's not for us to judge. Every person expresses love differently, and in Islam, intentions matter more than appearances. As we close today's video, let us remember that the story of Karbala is not just history, it is a call to action. It is a reminder to stand with the oppressed, to speak the truth even when it hurts, and to live with dignity, even if the world stands against us. May Allah light the flame of faith in all our hearts, and may He grant us the love of the Prophet Muhammad and his family. Endless peace and blessings upon the Prophet and his purified household. If this video moved you, please share it with others. And don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to Miracle of Islam and click the bell icon so you don't miss our next journey into truth and belief. Take care of yourself and of those who have no one to care for them. Until next time, may Allah be your guardian and guide. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.